Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Fiona, here to talk to you about ancient Pompeii.
The lifestyle of the Romans, the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, discovery of two great cities, and the archaeology at Pompeii will be the topics of discussion.
According to Pliny the Younger, you could hear women mourning, children crying, men shouting. There were some so afraid of death that they prayed for death. Many raised their hands to the gods, and even more believed that there were no gods any longer, and that this was one unending night for the world.
19 hours of torture and suffering. Then, there was only a long, deathly silence. Pompeii lay buried for nearly 1,700 years. It wasn't until 1748 that archaeologists began slowly uncovering the ancient city, preserved under 9 feet of volcanic ash and frozen in time. When will Vesuvius create another devastating roar? We have yet to find out.
In 59 AD, Roman society was split up into 3 categories: citizens, non-citizens, and slaves. Citizens were given protection under Roman law, and only a citizen could become a senator or a government official. On the other hand, the non-citizens, who were considered free by Roman law, were treated the worst and were looked down upon by society. Slaves were treated as property and sometimes used as prostitutes and or killed. The non-citizens and slaves lived under their masters and therefore helped the economy. The property of each category of society received the same treatment.
For example, in the Roman cities, the non-citizens lived in cramped-up apartment buildings. A lot of these buildings were unsanitary, and many of them were destroyed and covered in solid ash after the eruption. But those who did live in gross apartment buildings had other places to have leisure time. Romans used the huge, elegant, great gymnasium to pass time with swimming, spa treatment, or athletic games. Furthermore, the Romans also entertained themselves by watching gladiators. Apparently, female gladiators existed in a time, and female criminals could be forced to fight dwarfs. These Romans were very advanced in technology, and at the time were known to have created concrete, complex sewer systems and even bridges, which soon developed the village into a city.
The wind took most of the volcanic matter to Pompeii and the sea. The pressure from below built and built until Mount Vesuvius went off like a bomb. The eruption sent a superheated column of rock, ash, and gas 12 miles into the sky. In just hours, the mixture of gas and dust collapsed back and swept down the sides at up to 149 miles per hour, heading to the 600,000 people living around the volcano. In the summer of 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius erupted suddenly and with great violence. Hot ash filled the air for hours and for miles and miles away. At the time, screaming and yelling seemed like the best solution, and others felt like it was the gods sending a message. Still, people's reaction wasn't enough to move the citizens to safety.
The air was filled with poisonous gas and fumes. Hot ash and lava filled the city of Pompeii and villages surrounding the city, preserving the city along with 2,000 people. Beyond the total destruction zone, ash and volcanic rock fragments showered down over a wide area, which quickly added up enough material to collapse roofs and bury people alive. However, before Mount Vesuvius erupted, living near the volcano was not that bad. For example, the soil of the region provided grapes and excellent clay used for potting. The hot springs through the area were also a main attraction. Still, living near Mount Vesuvius did not end up well. In the end, Mount Vesuvius buried Pompeii, leaving behind a 1,700-year forgotten city with huge potential for an impact on the 18th century, the world, and the future. What more does Mount Vesuvius have to offer?
Before Mount Vesuvius destroyed Pompeii, the city was a really prosperous place, trading in wine, olive oil, and seafood. The farming products that Pompeii traded grew very well on the volcanic soil from Mount Vesuvius. Hundreds of feet of solid ash preserved the cities of Herculaneum and Pompeii and kept now famous paintings, mosaics, and carving. The hot ash formed around victims of the eruptions, which preserved amazing details of their clothing and faces. Up on the coast, archaeologists found luxurious villas built by Julius Caesar, the Emperor Augustus, and other Romans.
Very modern-looking sculptures of Julius Caesar and Augustus were also found up the coast. Between the years of 1978 and 1983, homes in Pompeii and Herculaneum were found to have blank walls facing the streets. In one of the houses, archaeologists found frescoes, or paintings, showing local seafood and wildlife. Archaeologists discovered several things in Pompeii and Herculaneum to contribute to solving the mystery of the two buried cities. But the mysteries of Pompeii weren't completely understood until later.
Pompeii was first discovered in 1599 by people who were simply digging wells or plowing fields and was soon forgotten. However, the rediscovery of Pompeii in 1738 was a huge impact on the world. The lethal effects of the eruption went more than 12 miles from Vesuvius. Vases, pieces of buildings, animal bones, parts of statues, and fragments of artistic paintings were frequently discovered on the grounds near and around the site of Pompeii and Herculaneum. Archaeologists found public buildings inside the walls that surrounded the city. A Greek temple that was converted into a school for gladiators when Pompeii existed, and 2 theaters. The discovery caused a cultural uproar and the spread of pomp and style all through Europe at the time. The 2 once booming towns were structurally reborn, and the discoveries went on to influence art, architecture, and literature. Artists attempted to replicate the new finds. Accordingly, the pomp and style spread through the houses of Europe and continued to spread all around the world until the 19th century.
Until 2010, the theory on the death of the Romans was based just on testimony of a witness, Pliny the Younger. Pliny claimed he saw his uncle in Pompeii take his last breaths under a cloud of ash from across the Gulf of Naples, leading everyone until now to believe that the ancient Romans died of suffocation. But recent studies of almost 100 skeletal casts, bone tissues, and conclusions from simulations of Vesuvius eruption prove otherwise. According to a volcanologist from Naples Observatory, from years of scientific research, it has been concluded that extremely high temperature, not suffocation, killed the people of Pompeii instantly.
Advances in methods of archaeology over the past 70-plus years have led to the mysteries of Pompeii to be solved and set to rest. Magnificent public spaces, buildings, and an extensive number of well-preserved private homes make Pompeii one of the world's most valuable heritage sites. Only in Pompeii is it possible to trace the history of Italian and Roman domestic architecture for at least 4 centuries. Finally, Pompeii was discovered and is famous simply for the catastrophic event that occurred thousands of years ago.